Welcome to week 2 of our coverage of the 4YMM 4 Years of Mario Maker Anniversary Project. We've got 8 new levels today with optional objectives to claim the birthday cake in each one. And as with last week, we're going to do all of them in the sequence that was laid out and programmed on 4YMM website, which I am going to link in the chat. So over the weekend, on our usual backlog stream, that is something that runs regularly overnight from Saturday to Sunday, into Sunday morning in the EU, we looked at a sample of levels by each of the creators who will be featured today, beginning with Kerfix, who is a creator from Poland who has made a number of levels that use hidden poison tech and Dry Bones and Boo interactions that are kind of triggered by things that are hidden from the player off screen. And it looks like from the preview image that we have this in store in his latest work, which is Uncaged. No Dry Bones were harmed in the making of this level, except for a few. Now, I'm going to read the long description from the website, which says, "What a wonderful day in a Dry Bones swamp. Everyone's enjoying good weather, doing happy little things. There's only one sad Boo trapped in a cage. Go and free him so everybody's happy." Now, there's one additional note I'll say about this level, which is that when it was uploaded on Sunday, there was a brief period when it was in fact taken down, possibly from some reports that it had perhaps done something slightly inappropriate or not in accordance with Nintendo's guidelines. However, it was, under its original code and under its original statistics, later restored by Nintendo that same day. And so there is something reportedly controversial about this level that has nevertheless passed the censors. And we're about to see what that is. So, we've got about 2% has to clear right here. Let's take a look. Okay, so let's begin in the swamp. We have the Boo that is held captive in the cage. Looks like we are required to hit the on-off switch in order to have access to the door, so let's do that at the expense of some kind of Boo release. Okay, there's the sound of doom. Boo has escaped. It is, as the title suggests, uncaged. Now, here's a bit of a cutscene. You have 2 Dry Bones. One with wings, one with no wings. They are certainly enjoying their time in the heat of summer. And look at that reproductive cycle. That was really something quite intense as we get into the developmental stage of their offspring swinging around on its little claw. And there's a birthday cage, I guess, at this point. The little Dry Bones is 4 years old. That is a very clever little cake placement in this level as a cutscene element. They are certainly getting it on. Yeah, it looks like this is basically a whole prequel plot here. The Boo scared the Dry Bones into the cage with the Pokey, and, well, now what do? We'd better continue and take a look. Well, Nintendo apparently didn't like that, but then somebody reviewed it and decided that they were okay with condoning that behavior after all. I mean, nothing more intense, I guess, than what we had already considered in questioning Bowser Jr.'s parentage back in Super Mario Sunshine. Whoops, okay. Thought I would just wait for Boos to come over and get over that. Maybe I should take that a little more cautiously. Anyway, hope you're doing well, Remmers. I could see that you had a new version of your latest level uploaded. Okay, there we go. Let's actually take this a little more carefully. It is totally consensual, yes. There is quite a lot that the entirety of the Smash Brothers competitive scene can learn about the ethics of how the Dry Bones conduct themselves. Whoops. Okay, really have to watch that timing there a little more carefully. Yeah, hoping to look at that final version at another point then. Whoops, there we go. At last. Rather narrow timing window. Just a matter of learning how to nail that. We're learning to nail a lot of things here, but perhaps not that jump. Okay, whoops. You can definitely tell by the death markers here that, in keeping with the theme of this level, people had a little bit of difficulty getting over that hump. Okay, slide over. And let's go right away. There we are. Now, what's this pattern going to be? Oh, it's going to come all the way to the wall. I was hoping to have a little more room than that, but I guess we'll go left and go over. Yeah, I really loved the narrative efficiency of that entire intro sequence, chronicling the first several years of the life of the first Dry Bones, unless, of course, they decide to chart their birthdays by somewhat different annual cycles, but, you know, we did see 4 candles on that cake, and we can only assume. There we are. Okay, gonna have another chance at this. Yeah, no, need to keep up the dash speed and maybe get to the left a little bit quicker, buy as much time as we can. And definitely a slightly unconventional kind of self-triggered animation cycle. But it is a timing that we can work out with a little bit of practice and self-control. There we go. Okay. Oh, it's a facing mechanism, I think. Isn't it? Maybe not. Let me think about this. There was something that definitely seemed to throw it back a lot sooner than I expected. There we go. Now, why would we possibly want this switch here? I see, okay. Because how much height do we normally gain? Not enough? Okay, I see. And we have a chance every time to kind of preview the pattern that we want and miss anyway as we get to the very end of this sequence. Okay, starting to do this a little more efficiently. Now I do wonder, given the presence of the birthday cake up front, whether there will be something like a cake design that is associated with the inevitable secret room, or if it's going to be something else that lies in store. But we'll find that out soon enough. Getting slightly better at this. The hitbox on those boos is perhaps not as threatening as it looks. You never know about these 2x2 objects in Mario Maker. Some of them are quite a lot more generous than others when it comes to whether they will actually whack you in the face. There we go, and that's actually a very smooth bounce once you get used to it. Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. Just time it for when the Dry Bones is back on its way across. Okay, we do have a checkpoint on that end. I see, so... And of course we can just watch the spike ball timer on the top if we spare a bit of sight line there in order to see what the available timing will be. Okay. Slight miss. Interesting that a respawn from the checkpoint drops you directly on top of that last dry bones. Only going to be a bit of a tense start when we do respawn from that point. Okay. And on we go. Yeah, I do like the consistency here. Don't know if you've played the whole set already on your side. Whoops. Okay, let's try to get around that. I mean, I should be taking greater advantage of the fact that the timing mechanism up top is visible at all times, in terms of knowing how much of a window we have to work with. Okay, over we go. And yep. Back over. Just a little bit late that time. Ah, okay, you've seen them all to completion on stream. Well, don't know if you've seen them with all bonus objectives, as with last week. We're going to make an effort to do that. And I guess this week, there weren't really any puzzles as such, as far as I'm aware, so it's not like puzzle spoilers were going to be a big deal. I mean, that was certainly why last week, with week 1, I was not really watching any other completions before I got my hands on it myself, because with the Permuting Perspectives puzzle in particular, I definitely wanted to do it with a totally clean slate. Okay, kind of restrict movement there. Sort of interesting, that arc of the dry bones on whatever conveyor mechanism is down there. I guess it is just on conveyor slopes. As we discovered with playing some of the earlier levels over the weekend, there's quite a lot about Carfix's design that sits very well with me as somebody who also really enjoys a lot of hidden lava or poison tech. Partly because it gives you this very clean look in the level while having a lot of unconventional interactions you can still play with, a lot of capacity for surprise that isn't just limited to how this theme is typically used in things like troll levels. And okay, we'll keep on hopping. Always throws me off just slightly in terms of how far back the boos are. That's just bad planning on my part. Okay, there we go. Yeah, all pretty smooth, except, of course, we continue to be late. Helps in the gameplay as well, yeah. For sure. Exactly, it allows you to focus on the playable space of the action. I think that's something that's definitely admirable about this level, that the one piece of information that is not interactive is the timing mechanism, which it's very useful to see. It's nice to have that as the one part that is transparent to the player, because it is relevant to how you are going to play, and so it is much less a distraction all around when it comes to the process of reading what you're supposed to do, and so you still have these mechanisms that feel roughly like standard platforming. Of course, that doesn't help us clean up our timing on that jump. That's something that's going to be entirely my responsibility. little bit late on that turnaround, but clearly we have the right method, and I actually do like the balancing of that particular jump. Just tight enough to require you to build up speed, keep you on your toes. But it doesn't, whoops, particularly feel tight as such. Yeah, I do need to wait for the second pass back around. I just haven't quite observed my own timing window for that yet to land cleanly in the center while Dry Bones is suspended over poison. We'll likely have to get that down a couple times. There we go. No. Almost. Okay. Here we are. And forward. No, I keep going impulsively. It's not something I do very often. But I think the fact that some of the jumps were timed in such a way that you have to go immediately after hitting the switch almost every time here had conditioned me to expect the same, even though I knew that was not what was going to happen. And perhaps it is timed in such a way that you can go instantly and catch it on the first pass as it goes right to left. There we go. Yeah, just a matter of getting that down a little more reliably. And yeah, that needs to be tightened up a little bit. I do have the right idea with the Piranha timing in terms of having it suspended in the air when I hit the switch, so it will be safely lowered by the time I need to make the crossing. Okay, back over we go. Yeah, it's still a little bit late. Maybe I should try to catch it on the first pass from right to left. That might be something that's just a little more reliable, but... No. Definitely won't be fast enough to do that. I do think I do need to catch it on the left or right cycle, and just so... I have to wait patiently and take that as a timing challenge. So far, pretty fond of the spacing all over this. I think it's been quite fair. There we go. Just have to nail that a bit more often, and having a slightly lower jump than what we were doing previously. Certainly something that is going to help. Same here. Slightly lower jump arc. Just need to control that in such a way that does not have everything going at full height. Let's see what this pattern is going to be. Yeah, it's going to be through the middle here. Okay, we have a key. We just need to make it back across to that door. Fairly straightforward. And let's see what this mechanism is going to be. I kind of expected that it would be an exchange. Bounce on the bones. And bounce again. Very satisfying double bounce there. Yeah. Really do appreciate that the patterns are just repeatable. And yeah. Well, we're well past CP1 hype at this point. Going to see how much further we can go. Now, interesting. This shouldn't be a trap, right? Okay, no, it isn't. Looks like we'll have a bit of a fight with the Boo. Oddly enough, the layout of this room is a bit of a reminder of how some fights tend to look in Yoshi's Island. I think they certainly remind me of layouts like the Naval Piranha. Oh, look, it's actually something slightly different every time. That's very neat. Always going to be a little bit of a surprise. Beautiful little multi-phase setup here. Absolutely lovely. Eventually it's going to give us a POW, I'm sure.